Mike Cardano with Roto Experts and the Fantasy Sports Network here with you on Thursday, May 8th, the much anticipated date of the 2014 NFL Draft. Now, I hope you get who you want for your team. I have absolutely no confidence that my Jets will come out smelling like a rose. I heard they're looking to trade up to get some guy from What's the Matter You. Now, I apparently created somewhat of a firestorm yesterday with Yankee fans when I mentioned that Mariano Rivera said that he thought Dustin Pedroia was better than Robinson Cano in his new book. Now, first of all, I'm not certain why Yankee fans feel the need to defend a guy who left them for a less attractive significant other. And I didn't originate the comment. I simply read the quote from Mariano when he was comparing Pedroia and Cano. Now, the quote reads as follows: "If I have to win one game, I'd have a hard time taking anybody over Dustin Pedroia as my second baseman." So you can go ahead and take that any way you want, but don't kill the messenger. All right, there are two early games on today's schedule, and the Detroit Tigers are smelling blood looking for their 9th win in a row in a 4-game sweep of the Houston Astros. Now, Drew Smyly is the Tigers' 5th starter, and he doesn't really get the respect he deserves from the fantasy community, as he's gotten skipped in the rotation a few times early in the season with extra days off and rainouts, but he can pitch. The left-hander is 3-1 with a 2.53 ERA in his last 8 starts. He strikes out about a batter an inning and has a whip of 1 flat. Now, the Astros' right-handed heavy lineup strikes out a ton, even against lefties, so Smyly could put up a nice fantasy day here. He's cheap and will save you thousands off of the top pitchers today, but I am looking for him to pitch like one. D. Gordon has 7 stolen bases in his last 7 games, and he's 9 for 23 off of San Francisco starter Ryan Vogelsong. Now, the odds suggest that he'll find his way on base tonight, and the odds further suggest that means a stolen base or two. Now, he's not cheap as far as second basemen go. He's the highest priced player at his position on FanDuel, but he qualifies at both second and short on DraftKings with both Robinson Cano and Chase Utley commanding higher premiums, and that's where you should start him if you're going to use him this evening. Sticking with the Giants-Dodgers game, in the other dugout, Hunter Pence is 8 for 19 squaring off against Josh Beckett. Now, we haven't used Pence yet this season, but he started to come around the past 2 weeks, raising his average from 181 to 256, and he's a solid play who you find will sneak in an unexpected home run or stolen base every so often, padding your evening stats. Hey, I've got more than just a couple of people asking me today about stacking Toronto Blue Jays batters, wanting to get both Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion in against A.J. Burnett, as they are both hitting .429 against him with a combined 5 home runs in 28 at-bats. Now, those aren't huge data sets. Stats are what they are, they're good, but they came way back when Burnett was with the Yankees, a part of his career he'd like to forget. And neither one of those guys are going to be cheap tonight, so you'll likely need to make sacrifices elsewhere if you want to fit them both in. For more daily fantasy coverage, tune in to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Series 210 XM87 from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the first word in daily fantasy, with an entire hour dedicated to the day's daily fantasy gaming with Dr. Roto and Tony Sincata, along with daily fantasy industry heavyweights Drew Dinkmeyer and Mike Leone. And if it's fantasy you want while you're getting ready or commuting to work, tune into the Roto Experts in the Morning Show with Scott Engel and Adam Ronis from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, weekdays, right here on the Fantasy Sports Network or on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And for you West Coast folks, we're going to replay that entire show for you here on the network during your 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. time slot. The first ever Fantasy Sports Network is here. You're watching it now, and you can now take it with you wherever you go. The new Fantasy Sports Network mobile app is your season ticket to the latest fantasy news, information, and analysis. Get access to the live stream of television programming, along with a suite of in-depth articles, on-demand videos, and podcasts. Fantasy Sports now goes wherever you go. The Fantasy Sports Network mobile app, available now on iTunes. Now, there are only 9 games today, with some possible thunderstorms in Texas for the Rockies-Rangers game. I know many of you don't play without putting Rockies in your lineup every night, so be careful with that one. And make sure you enter the $2 million Fantasy Baseball Championship 4-day Survivor Contest over at Draft Street. That one starts tomorrow. Head on over to rotoexperts.com or fantasysportsnetwork.com and you'll find a link to the $22 entry qualifier so you can pocket yourself $1 million. Good luck tonight, everyone. Enjoy the NFL Draft and let the trash talking begin.